IPS, intersample peaks in mastering. Should you care about them or not? And why so many commercial releases out there are clipping, so most professionals don't seem to care. Let's try to explain this. Hello everyone, welcome back to MixFest TV. Hope you're having a great day. Before we start, please check the info box down below for my mixing courses on ProMix Academy, free plugins, special discounts and special offers. And if the videos are helping you, you want to support the channel, but most important now, access to the exclusive members only premium content, tons of in-depth mix and mastering videos and courses where I really teach the no BS mix and mastering techniques. Click the join button down here, see all the perks of becoming a MixFest TV member, which also gives you mix consultations with me via Skype or email. Let's get to the video. I already have a video explaining what IPS are, how to measure them, how to avoid them, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on that. But quickly, for those who are not familiar with it in layman terms, anytime we print a mix or a master today, we have a digital file. This digital file, anytime you listen to it, when you listen to it in your car, in your phone, on your laptop, gets converted from digital to analog, okay? Your earbuds, your headphones. Any media, any reproduction system has a DA in it, which in the case of consumer products is not that great. Definitely not as good at pro audio and studio gear. When you master a track and you set your final brick wall limiter ceiling at 0 dBFS, or even minus 0.1 dBFS. Nothing is distorting in your DAW, nothing is exceeding that 0 dBFS in the digital domain. But when you play that file in a media, intersample peaks can be created as a byproduct of the DA conversion. When this phenomenon was observed at first, half of the people screamed that that was the problem, that was why the music sounded distorted. And the other half of the people said that intersample peaks are so unnoticeable and so rare that they deserve little to no attention. And if we take a look at any commercial release out there, 9 out of 10, they do have intersample peaks, and some of them, they actually have peaks exceeding the 0 dBFS even in the digital file. First of all, let me show you a cool interactive web page that TC Electronic made available. I showed this a few days ago when I unboxed my 2 new mastering tools here. Video on these is coming. I will put the link to this page in the description box down below. It's called Finalizer by TC Electronic, and as you can see, loudness radar, compressometer which shows the LUFS loudness and the dynamic compression, spectrometer that shows the frequency range, and here at the bottom you have all the commercial releases, well, many of the commercial releases. Here you have a reference track list for pop, rock, dance, electro, R&B, all times popular, top sales 2019, and so on. Same for rock. And here you can also upload your tracks and compare. If we select, let's say, the loudest here, it's High Hopes, Artist Panic at the Disco, album Pray for the Wicked. We see a loudness LUFS of minus 5.9 and a true peak of 1 dB. So 1 dB over the 0 intersample peak. The next one shows a 0.6 true peak. Close to Me 0.1. Happier by Marshmello has a 1.3 dB over the 0. Better 0.3. Sweet by Psycho 0.9. Sicko Mode by Travis Scott has 2.4 dB over 0. So it's safe to say that for non-classical music, we professional engineers don't really care about IPS. So why is that? The answer is pretty simple if you think about what I said at the beginning. There's no signal exceeding the 0 dBFS or the minus 0.1, minus 0.2, depending on where the ceiling or your final limiter is in the digital file. So there's no distortion going over the 0. It can only happen when that file is played through a media, so a phone, a laptop that has bad DA, because professional and audiophile reproduction systems and DA allow for this headroom. Phones, laptop, Bluetooth speakers don't. The problem is that those media sound pretty crappy to begin with, and most people will crank the volume of their phones, laptops, Bluetooth speakers to the max, which is gonna distort anything anyway. Even if you don't have intersample peaks, how many times you see people playing music in their phone and the volume is all the way up, or playing music for friends or a party or even a gym? Sometimes there's Bluetooth speakers cranked all the way up and they will distort terribly anything, whether or not you have a couple of intersample peaks or not. So as professionals, it makes little sense to sacrifice the level, the potential level that a song can have for something that is gonna happen anyway. If the IPS only happen on phones and laptops, and for the most part, those people will crank the volume to distortion anyway. So why would we even care? And remember, we are talking about something that in most cases is inaudible anyway. So it's not that these intersample peaks cause so much distortion. If some records came out and they were distorted, the distortion wasn't because of the IPS. It was because the limiter was pushed too hard. It doesn't matter where the ceiling was. The ceiling could have been a minus 0.3. The distortion comes from the limiting processing, not for those 2, 3, 4 intersample peaks. And of course, the more you squash a mix, the more intersample peaks you have, because it's a matter of how much and for how long you keep the limiter working on a track. That will dictate also how many intersample peaks. And we go back to my very popular video about loudness, okay? You shouldn't have to use so much limiting to cause something like that if your mix has a good crest factor, okay? I can make mixes hitting -7, -6 clean, -5 a little less cleaner, but with 2 to 3 dB of combined compression limiting, hard clipping and soft clipping. And I post clips of my mastering sessions consistently often, so you know it's true. And mind you, if you of your clients want to completely avoid IPS and are willing to sacrifice a little bit of lever for that, that is all good, okay? There are actually examples of commercial track, very few. They have either 0 or -0.1 or even -0.2. They're very, very little though. And to add to this, intersample peaks can also occur when we convert a WAV file into an MP3 file. That's why we never master a track with the ceiling or the final limiter at 0 dBFS. Although there's some people out there that don't even care about that and don't even care about the 0 dBFS, and the actual waveform is beyond 0 dB. That's another story, but that's really bad practice to me. So we set our ceiling to -0.1 or -0.4, not much to avoid IPS, but more to avoid the distortion that can happen and the overshoot that can happen when we convert the waveform to MP3. And today we have several tools that check our file after conversion. And I'll link some of the tools down below. You can check your file after being converted with several different codecs according to different platforms. But it's more for that conversion than the possible IPS created by a bad DA, like I said before. And many plugins, many limiters today have true peak limiting. Now pay attention though, because some have only the meter. The processing is the same. They just show you in the meter whether you want to see the digital scale or the true peak. They're not going to actually taking care of the intersample peaks. Some other, instead, they have a different algorithm. For example, my brick wall here, you can pick between normal limiting and true peak limiting. At that point, the limiter itself will make sure that you don't have intersample peaks. Now, the problem with it is that many people don't like the sound of true peak limiters. I gotta be honest, I'm one of those, but also you don't really need a true peak limiter. You need a meter, but you don't really need a true peak limiter to avoid intersample peaks. You can do it by lowering the ceiling on a normal limiter and then with a true peak limiter, making sure you don't have any. But like I said, me and most professionals are among the people that think that intersample peaks that happen in the DA stage when listening to a song are for the most part unnoticeable. And if you hear distortion on a track, is not really the IPS, is the too much limiting to begin with to get to that level. So I hope this clarified the subject. If you have questions, leave it in the comment down below. Check the info box for all the links that I mentioned. I hope this video was useful. I hope you liked it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and share. Follow MixPlus TV on Instagram and Facebook. There's a lot of exclusive content in there. Not just pictures and news, but I also pop up live here and there on Instagram while I'm working, so you get a sneak peek of my session. And if I have time, I usually take a couple of live questions. There's gonna be an amazing, I kid you not, course, 2+ hour on mastering, advanced techniques, members only, that will be released at the end of November. And also we'll have several giveaways, some for everybody, some for members only, of course, starting mid-November up until January. So if you want to become a member, support the channel and access all the videos, in-depth courses. Click the join button down here. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay safe. See you next time.
Hands on my neck, hands grip my throat.